Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Berman Mikel, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media. All right, guys, I am so excited for episode number 2 of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am bringing a really fun and very cool friend of mine, Jeremy Fusht. He is not only a badass real estate agent, he is co-founder of Impact Real Estate based out of Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And one of the things that I love about this guy is he just tells it like it is with you. If you remember how you and I even met, you sent me a DM on Instagram. I instantly responded to you. You could tell it was me. And then you responded back to me quickly. I knew it was you. And we had this relationship where we knew we were talking to one another. And we weren't talking to a VA that was helping us with engagement. We weren't talking to an assistant that was managing our DMs for us. I wasn't talking to an auto-generated message. I will get back to you shortly. Please reach out and text me at this phone number, right? I was getting the real Jeremy and you were getting the real Michelle. And I've been complimented on that a lot in my career. And I know for a fact that I wanted to do business with you in more ways than one, because of the fact that you were the one that responded to me. So what I really want to talk about today is the power of you being the one returning messages, and how on Instagram, that can be the difference between someone wanting to further that conversation, someone wanting to meet up with you for coffee to talk about, can I buy and sell with you? Or even in my case, I think I referred you a deal the other week, right? Like, why would I want to do that? Because I know that I'm getting you. So talk to me a little bit about the power of you, and why, even at the phase of business that you're in and the level of business that you do, you could totally delegate that out and you could totally hire someone to do it, but why you don't.
So I think there's a couple layers to that question. And I think I would like to start with, I know this is something you talk about as well, like the easiest way to start conversations and the power of social media and the scalable and being able to reach all these people. But my number one way that I'm coaching agents on to actually have conversations, and we teach our agents, you want to have 10 conversations a day with people. That's kind of the minimum goal. You want to have 10 conversations with people in your sphere, your social sphere. If you're calling, knocking, whatever it may be, like, you choose your business, how you want to run it. But if you want to focus on social media, which a lot of people freaking do, Instagram stories is the easiest way to have conversations, right? Because people post whatever they're doing. They're at the dog park with their cute dog and they put it on their stories because they want freaking someone to see it and go, your dog is cute as shit, right? That is the reason why they put it on Instagram. And so that is it's a door being pushed wide open saying, hey, let's have a conversation about my dog. Right. And I don't give a shit if it's about the dog, if it's about what they're having for dinner, if it's about what they're doing with the family, if it's about buying a house, selling it. I don't care. You have a conversation so you can start building that relationship. And so once you do slide into the DMs via story, the door is wide open for you to drag that conversation out throughout the entire day and really solidify and build this relationship with somebody that's in your social sphere, whether they're close to you, not close to you, whoever. Or if you follow a hashtag and find a story via hashtag and you want to build a new relationship, however you want to do it, but sliding into a story is my number way of having a conversation, without a doubt, right? And it's how people have conversations with me. But if I were to, let's say, like what you just said, if I were to outsource that to a VA or somebody who's not me, it would be a completely different experience for that end consumer, right? Whoever I'm having that conversation with, because especially for like someone with my beliefs, I try to be as authentic as fucking possible, right? I don't try to fake it till I make it. I don't try to be someone I'm not. I don't want to appease everybody. I want to attract people who like me for me, right? And so if I would have to delegate that out, they would get a fucking bullshit response that doesn't represent who I am as a person. Right. It would be a totally different experience for that. And there would be no relationship built. And as we know, relationships is the key to actually doing business. Right. If you don't build relationships, then you're going to be running something that's not going to be very sustainable. And I just don't want to run that business personally. I would rather build relationships, and I do that via conversations and responding to people in the DMs and really, and like for me, I want to drag that conversation out, right? Like I don't respond to somebody typically with a period. It's always going to be a question mark, right? Because I want them to go from talking about their dog, talking about their wife, to talking about their family, to talking about their future, to talking about their goals, to talking about their dreams, and how we're going to fucking get there. So I'm out of breath now. So like really engaging with your people, like it's super, super, super important that you are the one being authentic and having those conversations with people, because that's what the name of the game is. Like if you're not, it's crazy. Like it doesn't make any sense to me, because we want to build relationships, right? Well, like you and I, like you DM me shit about James Arthur, right? Like I want to be able to go to listen to that song because you recommended it. And then I can go put it on my fucking social media and be like, oh, this was a great recommendation from Michelle, right? I mean, we talk about it, whatever. And it's still kind of a joke, but like, if that was a VA who had that conversation, I wouldn't know shit, right? And I wouldn't be able to talk about that with you. I wouldn't be able to progress that relationship. And so I'm a big believer in exactly what you said. Be authentic, be yourself, and respond to your own fucking DMs.
Well, I want to tell a crappy story of a real life situation here to keep this part, to harp on this part longer, because I think that it needs to be heard. And what I want to say is I recently had somebody take a class of mine, and they started following me on Instagram after watching this free class that I was teaching, which was great, right? That's awesome. I now have a new real estate agent that's following me. Well, the account was sending me messages. They were asking questions. They were asking for feedback on a value series that they were writing, all these things, right? And this entire time, I think I'm talking to the realtor, right? The lady who is in the profile picture, her name is in the bio. I'm thinking, I'm talking to this person. This is awesome, right? And I personally have a method where I don't actually reach out cold to anybody at this point in my career, right? I wait for them to schedule a call with me, or I wait for them to inquire about, hey, what's course pricing, or hey, what's this or that. And so I waited. I got a message from the lady saying, or who I thought was a lady, right? Saying, hey, Michelle, can you send me the course pricing link so that I can decide whether I'm going to do the monthly or the pay in full? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Sent the link. Monday came around. So that was a Thursday. Monday came around. I hadn't heard back. So I picked up the phone and I called, right? Which is, I mean, duh, you follow up on your leads. Well, I picked up the phone and I called the phone number that was in the bio, right? In her contact button. I answered, or she answered the phone. I addressed her by name and I said, hi, this is, Michelle Berman Mikel. We've been chatting in DMs on Instagram. And she goes, who are you? What are you talking about? It's like, we've been going back and forth on DMs for several days now. You just asked me for the course pricing link to purchase the course last Thursday. So I'm just following up with you. And she goes, I have a social media person that handles my social media. So I never would have reached out to you for that. And she hung up on me. Right. So I then sent a message, I then screenshotted the message in DMs. I screenshotted multiple scrollbacks and I texted it to the phone number that I had just been hung up on by, just to prove a point that it was very much so a conversation that was being had in DMs. And she, of course, responded and was incredibly apologetic and said she was so sorry for being rash and rude. And I never responded to her message because, like, peace out, homie. Like, I'm done with that conversation. Right?
Yeah.
That is
tacky, huh?
That's a real life situation where if you're not the one responding to your messages, or you're not the one even having the conversations or even aware of the conversations for that matter, what are you even using Instagram for? What are you even using Facebook for that? Any of that?
Yeah. So like I always talk about, there's two different ways. So like in real estate, there's how we classify it is two different ways of prospecting. There's active and there's passive. And so like an open house would be a more passive way because we have no control over who comes in. We can put ourselves in the opportunity to have a conversation with somebody interested in buying or selling a home, but we don't have control over who comes into that open house. So that's more of a passive way of prospecting. Door knocking or calling is more of an active way because we're going to them, right? So I think of social media the same exact way. There's two different ways of running it and you have to do both. So there's an active way and there's a passive way. The passive way is what I say, the post and pray. That's passive. You post you educate, you try to be entertaining, however you want to do your Instagram, but we don't have control over who comments. But it's important that we're putting ourselves out there and we're showing that we're knowledgeable or entertaining or funny or charm, like whatever we're trying to get our point across. But there's also the other side, which is active. And that is our responsibility to go to them and actually engage with people and build relationships, right? Which is in the DMs too. And so if you're only like, if you hire someone to do all your posting, one, it's not going to be you. It's going to be very unauthentic, right? Unless you're like building the actual content and typing it up, whatever. You could have someone else post or whatever. But like, if you are not having conversations and you are not doing the active side of real estate, it is fucking pointless, right? Like if you're depending on posting and someone going, oh, I need to go into that profile, click on the contact button and give them a call directly to their cell phone, you are delusional, right? The easiest way to have that conversation is for them to DM you or start in the comments, and then you can slide into their DMs after you progress that relationship further. But like, if you're depending only on that passive way, it is freaking pointless.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.